My Ononoki character analysis was the first Monogatari video on this channel, and well, look at us now. So it's safe to say that this video had a big impact on the channel, and although I still love it for that, compared to my more recent Monogatari analysis content, I don't think it really measures up. So to remedy that, I'm going to give my favourite character from my favourite series a new updated analysis video. So of course, Ononoki Yotsugi is who we shall discuss today. If you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell, as I cannot explain to you how much such a small action can do for this channel. And if you want to support this channel even further, then perhaps check out my Patreon. Anyway, on with the video. Ononoki Yotsugi was not named by her parents but instead by her creators, and so was bestowed a name with meaning, or at least you may think so. But in actuality, Ononoki's name probably has the least meaning of any name in the series. Take her family name, Ononoki, it breaks down to Ono no Ki, which literally means an axe for a tree. And well, which character in the series is characterised by a tree? It's of course Aragi, so this name basically means that she is going to kill him. And well, let's be honest, she does threaten him with death on more than one occasion. And technically the key in her name in universe is to tie her to Kaiki in the same way Shinobu's family name ties her to Oshino. Her given name Yotsugi is a bit better, meaning cotangent, which matches up to the cosine in Kagane's name and the sine in Tadatsuru's, but this in itself doesn't mean much on its own. Basically the wordplay here is that cotangent equals cosine divided by sine, so in the equation cosine is on top and sine below, so if you substitute these for the corresponding characters, you got Kagane's name on top of Tadatsuru's, referencing how she won Ononoki coming out on top, since Ononoki chose her over him. Ononoki is an oddity, specifically a Tsukumogami, a human corpse that was used to make a corpse doll, a Shikigami. But what all that boils down to is the simple fact that she is not human. Her body may have once been alive, but that person is not her. Ononoki Yotsugi is not and never was a human. She was, and always has been, an oddity. Oddities by nature are not alive in the traditional sense, and of course they aren't people. They are monsters born from the fears and desires of humans. They take the forms of crabs or cats, so we as people can perceive them. They cater to us and what we see, because an oddity that isn't perceived, one that isn't thought about, cannot exist. Oddities are in such a way a slave to their purpose, unable to act outside of it without risk of erasure by the darkness. They must conform to a role whether it's what they desire or not. And what is the role of Ononoki? To imitate a human. Dolls by definition are meant to resemble humans. They're supposed to be a replica of a human body, and a corpse doll is the same. Sure, the base parts are actually human, but the end result is the same as any old doll, an object that is trying to imitate a human. And to that end, in the name of her purpose, Ononoki faces an issue of identity. Her purpose as an oddity is to imitate humans, which she does, but she is not a human. She will forever be just an oddity. At the beginning of Tsukumonogatari, we see her imitating humans, how they amuse themselves and how they cook, but the whole time it is nothing but a big game of house. Because no matter how hard she may try, Ononoki will never be human. Have you ever thought about why you were born? A deep question indeed, but what if it wasn't why you were born, but why were you created? Ononoki was created as an oddity servant, as a group project to resurrect a corpse by a college occult club. From the moment she was created, she had a purpose to live by and a master to serve. But does she have to? As an oddity, is she afforded the privilege of free will, of choosing her own path in life? She was designed as a tool. Sure, she looks like a human, she looks alive enough, but that was again by design. As a corpse doll is an oddity that imitates humans, she has to look at least this human by default. And well, even if she looks human enough, it doesn't change the fact that she is a tool to be used. She is just an object. In the eyes of the law, once you die, once you are a corpse, you become an object, one that can be owned, and Ononoki is just that, a corpse, and so an object. She looks like a person, but if you spent any time around her, you'd come to realise that although superficially she resembles one, she most certainly is not one. As humans smile, they cry, they emote, they have feelings, but an object, a tool, a doll does not. She is just human shaped, an expressionless doll unable to give away any hint of emotion, one who can't even make a posed look and instead most verbally inform us all that she said something with a posed look. I said with a posed look. How can something without emotions be called even close to human? But that's a mistake. Ononoki isn't emotionless, she is expressionless. And that's once more where this issue of identity comes in. She is a doll and so is seen as one, but deep down she is more human than her strict oddity purpose allows her to be. As she says to Araki, our oblivious as always protagonist didn't realise that there was more to her than met the eyes, and although this is in part due to his own flaws, it cannot be denied that this is something that Ononoki's expressionless behaviour didn't help to remedy. Once again, it's a conflict. She is a doll, so cannot be seen as human, but as a doll she must imitate a human. Her inner desires clash with her outward purpose. In Zoko Owari Monogatari, we witness a world where the insides of the characters are moved to the forefront. Characters' insecurities, their true selves, take centre stage. The parts of them that we, or more specifically Araki, could not see. And what kind of Ononoki do we find in this world? One who is far from expressionless. As Araki rightly points out, this Ononoki is a bit of a brat, one who doesn't shut up, who has faces full of emotion, and one who is as expressive as can be. And by the laws of this world then, all this is just a hidden side of Ononoki that we just never get to see, the part of her hidden deep down inside her because of her oddity nature. Whereas characters like Kanbaru and Hanikawa had their oddity sides take centre stage in Zoko Owari Monogatari, for Ononoki it's the part of her that her oddity nature usually suppresses that makes an appearance. As the more we see of Ononoki throughout the story, the more of her inner self we get to see, such as how she likes ice cream. Or, very minor monster season spoiler incoming, so just skip 10 seconds ahead if you don't want to be spoiled. She says that she genuinely considers Araki a friend, even enough to give him a friend's discount. And it's little things like this that make it so clear that she is more than just a tool, yet as is kind of the running theme of this video, her role as a tool causes conflict. And the best representation of this in the story, of her nature as an object and a tool overriding her emotions and feelings, is once again in Zoko Owari Monogatari, as although she at first is quirky, expressive and a free spirit, it doesn't take long for her to remodel herself and return as our usual blank-faced living doll. She stuffs her true feelings back down inside and resumes her usual nature. And why does she do this? For Araki's sake, to help him solve the mystery of the mirror. As her nature as a tool remains, she fits people's needs like a tool, be it as an exterminator, as an undercover operative masquerading as a doll, or as a genuine friend. There are just so many layers to her, but only so much she can show. This is why she has her speech quirks. She is unable to emote and always has a deadpan face, so in order to try let out even some emotions, she develops speech quirks. Be it ending sentences with the phrase, I said with a posed look, or the far more kawaii, yeah, peace peace. And another thing to note here is that the reason she switched speech quirks is seemingly out of embarrassment, once again showing how human she is on the inside. As she says herself while narrating in the off-season, she has fear and surprise, but these emotions are not tied to her actions. She will feel surprise, fear, disgust, anger, sadness and joy, but her body won't react to them, and so she has to do other things. Make up speech quirks, tilt her head, throw up peace signs, spin around. She has to make up for what she can't emote with the few things she can do. She imitates humans as a doll to the best a doll can do, but she isn't just a doll, and so the best a doll can do is still less than she really wants to do. That all said, although we may consider what lies beneath her blank face very human, she herself may not come to the same conclusion. As Ononoki says herself, she is a monster.
こうならないでね、お兄ちゃん。人間はこうなってしまえばおしまいだ。
Tsuki Monogatari in a lot of ways seems like an exploration of Ononoki's journey to try and become human, something paralleled by Araki who is trying to retain his own humanity now that he is slowly becoming a vampire again. However, as Shinobu says in this part, it is precisely because she is trying that she can't be acknowledged as a human. Humans don't have to try and be human. Ononoki is fully aware she is a monster in the same way Araki is aware he is human, and so in this arc we get to see Araki dealing with the fact he's transitioning from a human to an oddity in a world of oddities, while Ononoki is an oddity transitioning into the human world. At the end of the day, as long as Araki keeps Shinobu by his side, he will always be a vampire, an oddity, at least in some small part, and by the same merits, no matter how hard Ononoki tries, she will always remain an oddity. As Shinobu says, the fact she tries is what nullifies her efforts. Araki is something not quite human and not quite oddity, but still he chooses to live as a human. That is an important lesson he learns through Tsuki Monogatari, and an equally tragic lesson Ononoki learns through this arc is that she is a monster. She tries to express herself through eccentricity, she uses familiar terms, she makes jokes to lighten the mood, she does all this in an attempt to be more human in the human world. She's trying to fit in, trying not to make humans uncomfortable, she's trying to be human. Yet when push comes to shove, as shown at the end of this arc, she embraces not this facade of a human, but her true self as a monster. She kills Tadatsuru in cold blood, the act of not a human, but a monster. But the really important thing is why she does this. She kills Tadatsuru to protect Aragi, to save her friend. And remember, Aragi in his almost vampire state is a potential threat. One Ononoki, as her name suggests, could be ordered to kill at any moment. But even so, she kills Tadatsuru to protect him, to make sure he doesn't either throw his life away, or worse, give away his humanity for good and become a monster himself. She chooses to be a monster so he doesn't have to. She rejects the humanity she imitates and embraces the monster for a moral reason, which in a way makes her all the more human. A self-sacrifice for the sake of others is exactly what Aragi, the human she's trying to protect, would do. And maybe this all goes back to the idea of perception. Are we, by using labels of oddity and human, the ones who force Ononoki to have to conform to one or the other? Why does being human have to be such a black and white thing? As even if Ononoki isn't human, by throwing away the possibility to be one and embracing her monstrous nature, she is undoubtedly a human. And further to this point, she chooses to do this. She chooses to kill someone she cares for, her creator no less, for the sake of someone else she cares for. Humans make choices, tools and objects do not. Yet Ononoki does this for herself. She blatantly disobeys Aragi's orders as she is capable of making a decision. It's the same as when she chose whether to serve Tadatsuru or Kagane. A doll doesn't make choices or choose actions. A doll is something that's actions are dictated for it by humans. And so by this logic, Ononoki is not a doll. And once again we loop back round to the issue of identity of what Ononoki is. So what answer do I propose to all this? That it doesn't matter. What makes Ononoki so engaging is not the end result, but the journey. Seeing her try to act human but embrace her oddity side, to honour her true feelings, is what makes her compelling. What exactly you class her as is not important in of itself. Instead, it's her journey to discover this for herself which is what, at least to me, makes her character arc, as loose and disjointed as it is, so effective. Ononoki overall is a character who explores the conflict between what someone is and what they want to be, while at the same time exploring the very core of what it means to be human, of what qualifies someone as being human. She is kind-hearted, proud of her work and rather violent, but all these attributes are hers alone. She is not just a tool in the same way she is not just a doll, and she is not just an oddity. As Kaiki says, a fake is of far greater value. In its deliberate attempt to be real, it's more real than the real thing. And Ononoki, in her attempts to be human, where she is forced to be a monster, becomes something far more human than any real human. And hey, maybe this is why she's probably the closest thing Kaiki has to a real friend, because like him, she is a fake. But even if she isn't actually human, she embodies the greatest attributes of humans, though I guess most of those are kind of hard to see, hidden behind her expressionless face. I said with a posed look. Comment of the week comes from Duel Master Yuya, and thanks for finding some kind of message in what was admittedly quite a short video. If you are interested in my literary endeavours, then why not check out my books Gang, Fluid Justice and People of Fate Volume 1, available at Amazon.com. And if you want to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, then consider pledging to my Patreon, where for as little as £2.75 a month, you can get your name at the end of the video, like Hikari Desu, 7SO, Smokey McBobby, Rinjack9696 and Dewey. So with all that said and done, I've been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I'm signing out. Stay safe, everyone.